Hi, I'm Mike Clayson,
And I'm Walter Von Huning.
and I thought today we could talk about artificial intelligence because, boy, we definitely need that.
AI, here we go. I am not versed in AI, and I know Michael.
And I have spent the last 2 months really immersing myself into it. So I think I have a good grasp of what's happening, the technology, and I think I can help people like us be able to use it and find some real value in it.
I agree. It can help us, but I also have some trepidation that it can hurt us. And because being involved with the Terminator films, I I have that fear of Skynet and what can happen.
I think your fears are well placed, well grounded, but I don't think we have to worry about them now. I mean, I think
No, it's in an infancy now.
Right.
And so again, I don't have any AI. I have not used it because I do have that little thing, oh, do I want to get into it where they get all my information or that? But you do. You use ChatGPT, I know. And what's the other one?
Claude.
Claude.
I mucked around, messed around with some of the other programs from Google and from Apple, but I found that Claude was very helpful, and also ChatGPT, which is what I finally chose. I subscribed to a $20 a month version of it, which works for me.
What's the difference between a $20 version and just a free
Well, the
chat?
the $20 version gets you into the most updated version of their software.
Okay.
But you can't sit on it 24 hours a day if you want to really grind away and use it all the time. You're gonna have to pay more money. I think they have a $200 a month subscription as well.
$200 a month subscription?
But believe me, depending on what you do for a living, it's well worth the money.
Give me something that would be worth $200 a month.
Well, for instance, if you're a professional writer of some kind, where you have to write a lot of stuff, whatever it might be, where you're writing, say, a lot of reviews, or if you're writing a lot of analysis, or those are just a lot of comments. Suppose you're running some sort of a website where you have to have a lot of call and response. Running that through a program like ChatGPT will make your life so much simpler and easier, because you basically have a writing assistant. It's like having an assistant that doesn't sleep, doesn't get tired, doesn't want to raise, doesn't need a lunch break.
But okay, let's say you're a writer, or I'm a writer, okay? And I have a style of writing.
Yeah.
And so I want to write another comedy script. Let's pick comedy, okay? And so I'm, again, with my style of comedy, because there are different styles of comedy that you can write.
Right.
And so I'm saying, okay, when I write a script, I have the characters, I have the plot, I have everything that goes along with writing that I know. Now, I say, okay, ChatGPT, I am writing this, here's a new plot I have, and here are the characters that I want in this. How will it know unless I tell it what type of comedy I want to write?
Well, you could teach it. First thing you could do is you could download into ChatGPT, say, several other things that you've written.
Okay.
Novels or books or scripts or whatever it is that you think represents your style. And then you could say, ChatGPT, considering the information I've given you about my writing style and these documents I've downloaded, now I have a new factual scenario or a new idea about something, and then you describe the idea, and then you say, ChatGPT, write me a story, script, novel about the following scenario, and it will grind out something. Now, you're not probably going to be happy with the result, but it will be a first draft that you will be very happy with working from.
How will it know jokes? How will it know the type of humor I want to portray?
I think comedy, emotion, human emotion is probably an area that these AI models are not very good at right now. I mean, it'll give it a shot, but I think comedy, to me, as a writer, comedy has always been the most difficult for me. I think it's the most difficult style to write.
Yeah.
But to use something that's more that most people I think would find more use for. For instance, if you wanted it to write, say, a letter, say you got an email or you got a letter from somebody, you could put it into ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, and then you would say, this person who wrote me this letter is a longtime friend. We're 30 years of friends. We talk to each other frequently. We are close. We love each other. Or we like each other very much. And I want to respond to the letter that's been written to me. I'm concerned about this person's health or their family situation. So give me a letter that responds to all that. And it will grind out something, and it takes 3 seconds. And it may or may not be what you want, but it'll be a long ways towards what you want. And it'll without having to invest all that emotion in something, you'll get something that you will be extremely happy with just a few tweaks and edits, and you can send it off.
Okay, you just said with emotion that, maybe it's hard to write emotion or to make it personable to you. And I was just at the Apple store, actually, because I was getting some stuff for my phone. Sure. And I asked the guy, hey, what about the 16, the new phones? And he said, well, it has this function and this better photography, and you can do this and take a person out and all that. Okay, yeah. I get all that. He said, but we do have AI in these phones now, and that they can do what you just said. If you want to write a letter or do something, they can do that. But they have the ability to say, do you want to write an angry letter or a nice letter or, a different parameters that you can use. And I'm going, okay, well, that's good. But I think AI can be good. I think it can be really, really good, because let's take diseases, cancer, Huntington's disease, Parkinson's, whatever you want to say. And if you have that information, and doctors are trying to fix those problems for years here, but you take all the information, and can AI take a look at that and say, oh, here's the solution?
Yeah. In fact, it's happening right now with radiology. So in the past, say, in the long history, in the past, say 2 years ago, the way radiology worked was, say, for instance, for breast cancer, a woman would go in and get her breasts examined, and then the scan then would be given to a radiologist who, depending on that person's experience, they might be maybe 10 years worth of experience, it might be 20 or 30 years of experience, and they look at the scan, the scan of the breasts, and then they make a decision based on what they know about whether that woman has they should be concerned about the scan or not, whether it has evidence of cancer or other things that they should be concerned about. Which, that's just the way it's always been. That's the way it's always been in medicine, is that the doctor applies what that person remembers or has learned from past practice to the patient in front of them, and then based on that information and their education and training, they make a diagnosis. AI does something similar, except that when it is loaded with every single breast exam by every single person that's available, millions and millions of these breast exams, and it's been told this is cancer, this is not, and then it compares all that information with that person's in front of the doctor, that scan in front of the doctor. It can then make a call using not just the doctor's information and experience and training, but every doctor who's ever looked at a breast scan and made a conclusion based on the data that it has. It can then apply all that information to the scan in front of it, and it can say, yay or no, yay or nay. There's a problem here, or there's not a problem.
Okay, that's saying, yeah, there's a problem here, or there's not a problem.
Right.
But what I'm saying, can they take all of that information about breast cancer and what it is and how it metastasizes and everything it does, and saying, okay, here's a way to stop breast cancer?
Maybe, but what it really does, though, is, for instance, like radiology, really great for that. Okay,
Yeah.
Because it compares all the data it has to what you're asking it to look at right now, and ask it to compare it. And based on your information, does this person have breast cancer or not?
Mm-hmm.
It does a really good job of that. It's amazingly good at that. It'll also take, you can ask it questions like, give me all of the uses for a particular drug that have ever been, this drug has ever been used for. Give me every single use that, based on your data set, this drug has been used for. It'll crank out all those uses. And then you can ask it questions like, well, is there anything we're missing? Is there something we're missing? And AI then will look through all of that data, look through all the uses, and say, yeah, you might want to try this.
Okay.
And that could actually be new. That could actually be a new solution.
That's the positive side.
Yeah.
Negative side, you have a self-learning system that keeps gaining more and more knowledge to itself.
Yeah.
Will that eventually become self-aware, which is, Terminator and Skynet?
Sentient,
it
right.
will become
sentient. Will it become sentient?
Yeah.
There's a couple of guys out there already who've said that ChatGPT is sentient. I haven't seen any evidence.
What do you
of
call
that.
it?
Sentient. Where they become self-aware.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And but there's a few guys out there that are saying that this is exhibiting self-awareness, self-intelligence. I don't think so, but that's what they're saying. But yes, I mean, the way these programs work is the more information it gets, the word smart is not the right word, but the more information it gets, the more likely it is to give something in response that's useful.
But the more information it gets, the more intelligent it becomes.
Yeah, I don't like words like intelligent either, because it's not. Intelligence and smart, those are words that you apply to biological animals.
But if they're becoming self-aware, then, are they becoming
smarter?
Yeah. Are they becoming, will there come a time, it's really just starting now, will there become a time where AI is everyday life for us?
Yes.
And that they will someday say, why do we need these humans that aren't as intelligent as we are?
I don't know about that. I hope not. I hope you're wrong.
Well, I hope we're right.
But I think definitely there is that concern, that is that fear. Because what I notice with AI is it quickly can become a crutch. Mm-hmm. So things you used to do on your own, making decisions, day-to-day decisions about things, you think, well, what happens if I run this through ChatGPT? I wonder what it'll say about things.
Okay.
And so the easier that these developers make to make it to access these databases, these large language models, which is what all these AI programs are, the easier they make it to access, like for instance, putting it on your new iPhone, that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Then the more likely it is that people are going to go to those programs.
Right.
And not just for information about how to write a letter, but asking it for medical diagnosis, so you feed in all your symptoms and ask it what you think ask the AI what it thinks you might have. People are starting to use it for psychological purposes, so they'll feed in information to it about how they're feeling depressed, or they're not hungry, or they're having these various problems, and asking it to diagnose themselves. Also, they're using it for company. So right now you can ask ChatGPT, you can have a conversation with it about how I'm feeling. You know, I'm not feeling great, or I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to decide between
Right.
this and that.
Well, what do you mean for company? That
Like,
that
I mean,
it will
instead
have
of
a
you and I talking,
conversation.
actually have a conversation.
You know, so some guys won't have that big blow up doll anymore.
Well, no, you have a blow up doll, but you also have it. You'll also be equipped with AI. So
You know, we talked about
Yeah.
offline, whatever it was, before, about how AI can get into sensitive systems, and if it's so intelligent that they can maybe break firewalls, and all of a sudden there is all the information in there,
Yeah.
and then it's, you know, because it doesn't have emotions yet, or that type of, but it can take that and sell it or do something with it.
yeah. I mean, the more information it has, the more likely it is to give you something useful in response. So it is absolutely. It's not like the program itself wants this information. It's the developers that want to give it information to make it more relevant and more useful, because that's where the money is. The more useful and more helpful the
You're
program
right.
is, the more likely people are willing to spend money on it. So yes, as we go forward, there is a lot of information out there that's already been scraped and hacked from really important databases like the Social Security Administration, the Veterans Administration,
Yeah.
the Department of Defense, the local, the state DMVs,
Jeez.
all kinds of employment records.
Yeah.
All of that is going to find its way into these AI large language
Then they
models.
control it. They control us.
Yeah. Well, they'll certainly control the information. Whether they control us is going to be up to us.
Well, by controlling us, I'm saying they have this information, and now another, let's say, pick a country anywhere.
Yeah.
Country X says, we have our own AI. We're not going to communicate with this AI over here. They've got this information on all these people.
Yeah.
We're going to access that information, and they're going to talk to each other. And now this AI in country X has all of our information, which then can go to, quote, their government, which then can control.
Right. So let's end it here.
Okay.
We'll pick it up in another discussion, because there's a lot to be said about that. And also, I really want to get to the point where how AI can be useful for us,
Okay.
for you and me as individuals right now. I think there's some things I can say that I think could actually change people's lives
Okay.
today, right now, if they sit down and use it.
Well, let's do part 2 of this, and it's fascinating. It's where it's going, and this is just the beginning. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.